Lesson with Teacher Kamanga. In today's lesson, we are trying to go through Biology Paper 2 Theory. That is a paper from 2020, which was written by GCA candidates. Therefore, in this paper, we're going to revise on the first two questions from section A. So the first question, as we are seeing, it's coming from plants. Specifically, we're saying it's a plant cell. So the question says, Figure 1.0 shows a plant cell. Now, as we can see, this structure of a plant cell, it has some parts. We have A, B, and C. So always when you've been given a diagram in your question, understand what the diagram is all about. So as we are able to see, we can see some parts there. So for instance, if we were to identify these parts, you understand that A there, it's vacuole. Then we have B there, which is the nucleus. Then we have C there, which is the cell membrane. Now, as you'll be able to look at this cell, it's also very important that you do identify what type of a cell it is. Since we all know that it's a plant cell, but specifically what kind of a cell, this is a parasite cell. What we need to understand is that for easy identification, it has numerous chloroplasts, as we can see, because its main purpose is to carry out photosynthesis. All right. Now, with that said, let's come to the first question. It's saying, name the parts labeled A, B, and C. So you see the question becomes simple if you've already identified different parts on the diagram. So based on what we've just identified, we have seen that part A, it is a vacuole. Part A, it is a vacuole. Okay. Part A is a vacuole. Then when we come to B there, we've identified that it's a nucleus. Okay, so let me just write it properly so that we're able to see. Okay, so B, it's a nucleus. We basically know the function of the nucleus because the nucleus is the one that controls all cell activities. Okay, like that. Then we come to C. C, we have seen that is a cell membrane. So cell membrane. Okay. All right, like that. So I hope it is very clear to when we are trying to answer this one. Okay, we come to A2. We're saying name the organ in the plant in which figure 1.0 is found. Give a reason for your answer. So now, in this case, we understand that this one, we know it's a parasite cell. In the parasite cell, it is found in the leaves. So we need to understand why are we saying it is in the leaves, because we know for sure that this parasite cell, it needs a location where to be able to trap enough sunlight for the process of photosynthesis. So it is in the leaves. Okay, so the organ, we know it's a leaf. Okay, then what is going to be our justification for our answer? So the justification for the answer that we've just given, we can still put it to say because of the presence of many chloroplasts, or because of the rectangular shape which increases the surface area for the absorption of sunlight. So we can still state those two reasons. So let's just try to state one, which we say the presence of many chloroplasts okay, so that is going to be our reason. We can have various reasons like the other one that I've just said, the rectangular shape which increases surface area for the absorption of sunlight energy. So those are basically the reasons that we're going to give. Okay, we move from there, we come to B. We're saying describe two adaptations of the cell in figure 1.1 which enables it to carry out its function. So now when we're talking about adaptations, we're simply trying to talk about mechanisms that allows it to perform its function diligently. So whenever we're trying to talk about the same adaptation, number one, since we've already talked about this cell, its function is to carry out photosynthesis. It's a site for photosynthesis. So we need to understand it must be able to have the chloroplast, as we are seeing. So number one, it has many chloroplasts. That is its adaptation. There are many chloroplasts present there so that it should be able to carry out its function nicely. So we are going to put there many chloroplasts. Okay, that is our first one. That is our first adaptation. Then we can still put another adaptation. Okay, this adaptation, we're also saying its shape. The shape also increases the surface area for the absorption, so it has a rectangular shape. Okay, it has a rectangular shape to increase the surface area. Okay, like that. All right, let's come to the part C here. Now the question is saying explain what would happen to the cell in figure 1.0 above if it was placed in test tube containing distilled water. Okay, so we need to understand to say if we put this cell in a test tube containing distilled water, there's a process of osmosis which is going to take place. Now we understand that the water inside the cell it is less concentrated, so water will move from the test tube into the cell. Now if water has moved from the test tube into the cell, this cell, it is going to be turgid. It will change and become turgid. So that is going to be our reasoning in this case. So we're going to put here okay, so the water will enter the cell by osmosis, and the cell will become turgid. Okay, so we're saying the water will enter the cell by osmosis and the cell will become turgid. So that is what is going to happen after it has been placed in distilled water. So we need to understand